Credit card companies want you in debt. While they do make money from transaction fees every time you make purchases using their card, their ultimate goal is to pull you into a hole of credit card debt. After all, this is where the majority of their profits come from. They will do everything they possibly can within the law to try and turn you into one of their millions of debt slaves. It's a psychological battle. You versus the credit card company. Your goal is to pay off your debt at the end of every month and claim the rewards. Their goal is to make you their debt slave. Everybody who takes out a credit card thinks they're going to pay it off every month, yet 40% of Americans don't. They open the credit card believing if they just pay it off every month, they can get free rewards. But then life happens and people end up in debt. The car breaks down, a window gets smashed, they're hit with a healthcare bill, if they're American, and they suddenly find that they can't pay off their credit card bill. For those without savings, taking out a credit card is like dancing on the edge of a cliff. You can dance around and enjoy your rewards, but one wrong step, or even an unexpected gust of wind, can push you down the cliff and into a deep hole of credit card debt that may take you years to recover from. The psychology of credit cards. The argument goes like this. I pay off my credit card every month. I don't get into debt. I use my credit card to pay for things I would have bought anyway. I get cash back and air miles, so what's the problem? I would be a sucker not to use a credit card. The problem with this argument is that countless studies show that people spend more when using a credit card than when using a debit card. When you use a debit card, you feel the psychological pain of loss. The money comes directly out of your own bank account with no delay. Debit cards and cash have a strong sense of reality attached to them, while credit cards do not. When you use a credit card, a number of factors are reducing this psychological pain. Number 1, delayed loss. No money will leave your bank account until the end of the month. Despite the fact that you're fully aware that you have to pay in the future, the fact that the psychological pain doesn't hit you at the moment of payment means that you feel more positive about spending money than you otherwise would be. Number 2, rewards. As you may know, when you spend money on a credit card, you're rewarded. Common rewards are cashback and air miles. The fact that you're rewarded for spending money means that instead of feeling the pain of buying something, instead you feel positive about your purchase as the dopamine reward chemicals fill your brain. What's the point of 3% cash back on your credit card if you end up spending 10% more while using it? Number 3, pool of resources. The bigger the pool of resources you're taking the money from, the more you'll likely spend. If you pay for a $4 latte with the $5 note in your pocket, you'll likely feel far more psychological pain than if you take your money from the $5,000 in your bank using a debit card. And what's the pool of resources on a credit card? Psychologically speaking, it's an infinity symbol. When you feel as though your pool of resources is enormous, you're likely to spend more. It's simple. Less psychological pain equals more spending. You think you spend the same with a credit card as you do with a debit card? Maybe you do. Or maybe you're underestimating how much of your day-to-day behavior is subconscious. Just as most people believe that advertising doesn't affect them, people don't believe and don't want to admit that credit card companies are able to influence their spending. People hold a sense of pride in feeling like an intelligent, responsible consumer in control of their own finances, and it's painful for them to admit when they're being manipulated. Your brain works like this. Thoughts go from the subconscious brain first, before moving through to your conscious brain. For instance, let's say you decide to buy a dessert at a restaurant. Your conscious brain tells you a story. The dessert is only $8. It's normal for people to get a dessert after a meal. I deserve it. Sometimes in life you need to enjoy yourself. These are the rationalizations that your conscious brain comes up with. But underneath these rationalizations is your subconscious thought. Your subconscious brain knows that you'll be rewarded with more points on your credit card the more money you spend, and therefore feeds your conscious brain rationalizations for why you should buy the $8 dessert. After all, That's $8 that could have gone into your savings account. Now take this one event and repeat this situation every single day of your life. $8 desserts, $4 lattes, $30 rounds of drinks at the bar, $20 taxis. Can you understand how the subconscious effects of paying with a credit card can affect you over a long period of time? If you had instead been paying for each of these items with a debit card, would you have changed your mind about some of them? If the subconscious brain knew it was going to experience some psychological pain with each of these purchases, it may have fed your conscious brain a different set of thoughts about that $8 dessert. I really don't need this dessert. $8 is too much just for a little dessert. Wouldn't it be better to have that $8 in my saving account instead? If I want to save up to buy a house, I can't spend money on things like this. This is how your payment method affects what you spend money on and what you don't.